There it is.
Okay. So this is the daily song, inspired by this article. Let me see if I can show this. Yeah, can you see the article here?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just going to play this and then switch it back to the.
I've seen the barrel of a borrowed gun 6 inches from my name. A man in uniform, smiling white like mercy was a game. He said no one will ever know. Said it soft, said it slow. That was power, that was truth. That was how the world was run. They don't need laws when fear will do. They don't need justice when they got you on your knees, eyes shut tight, praying you make it through the night. They say obey or die. That's the most powerful lie. Dress it up in flags and shields, call murder how order feels. They say obey or die, and dare you to deny. 'Cause power doesn't ask, power only fires back. He stood between the boots and her, said no, not today. They took that as a challenge, a debt that had to be paid. Pepper in his eyes, gravel on his skin, still he tried to rise again. And that's when power took offense to a man who wouldn't bend. They fear the ones who stand up straight, who don't accept their chosen fate. A voice, a step, a single no is all it takes to make them go. They say obey or die. That's the most powerful lie. Back turned, hands empty wide. 10 shots to prove who's alive. They say obey or die, and call it justified. 'Cause power doesn't flinch, power only pulls the trigger. History screaming from the ground. You've heard this sound before. Every tyrant says the same damn thing right before the war. Silence is permission. Fear is how they win. Every time you look away, you're letting them. They smell the fear in marble halls. They count the quiet, count the falls. Every empty chair, every hidden face is another inch they take. They say obey or die, but that's not power, it's a crime. Real strength stands in the light, even knowing it might die. They say obey or die, but hear this battle cry. Power breaks when people stand and say you don't command my life. You don't command my life. You don't command my life.
Wow, that's a great song. I love that.
Yeah, she's a great writer. I don't know whether it's
Right.
produced by AI or
Song is
I don't.
great.
It's great. I don't care what it's produced by, as long as it's getting the
It's
message
a
across.
freaking great song. It's powerful. My God.
Yeah, well, I mean, she writes it
Holy
based on what he's experienced. He talked about how
wow.
he Tom Hartman was like a worker for these peace organizations back in the 80s or whatever. Here it is. Okay, so let me just is the most powerful message in America now, quote, obey or die.
Yeah.
What the murders of Renee Good and Alex Pretti reveal about who really controls this country and how. Kristi Noem, Donald Trump, Greg Bavino, and even Whiskey Pete Hegseth are all out there trying to tell us that Alex Pretti was a domestic terrorist who came to a protest with the intention to, quote, massacre ICE agents. See, this is a common term. Timothy Snyder talked about how, you have to be aware of words. Words like law enforcement, words like domestic terrorists,
Yeah.
That these are lies. And they're labels, and if you repeat it long enough, and if they get the media to repeat it as many times, just without mindlessly or with malice, then it's like a wedge that divides people, and they just keep ramming that wedge, and they get in. First it starts with the borders, like the Hitler and the. All the other the Nazis and different authoritarians, they send people to death camps in Poland or whatever, across the border, make everything about the border, and like make everything, just hide the truth about what you're doing, and make it all about the fearing the people that are coming here illegally, or the people that are poisoning the blood of Germany or America or whatever it is, and make it about the border. We have to keep our blood clean from these invaders, And if anybody questions it, then they use these fear tactics and violence to rule with an iron fist. See, this is what he went. They call it a massacre of ICE agents, but that's not their real message. And he's talking about from his personal experience. This is Tom Hartman. Back in 1980, I went to Uganda during the civil war against Idi Amin to make over a refugee camp in the Karamoja region. Do you know who Idi Amin is?
I remember hearing that name, but I mean, I don't remember that so much.
Well, he's a big F. He's a big fat F. And he bragged about eating his torture victims, them, cannibal. And they had a bit on SNL, like Idi Amin was. This is back in the 70s, and they had this bit where Idi Amin was a roommate, and he didn't clean up all his like remnants of human remains, And he said the only way to get peace in the world is to give all the nations nuclear weapons. Guy was a real piece of work. Yeah. And he slaughtered, hundreds of thousands of people in Uganda. When I was leaving the country going through the Entebbe airport, which had only intermittent electricity and considerable damage from the war, I was confronted by 3 armed men, 2 of them Tanzanian soldiers who just successfully occupied the country as Amin fled to Saudi Arabia, and 1 local Ugandan policeman. One of the soldiers had this is like a borrowed gun, an AK-47 over his shoulder, and he grabbed the clip and rotated the gun down so the barrel was pointed right at my nose from a distance of about 6 inches. He said, "I could kill you right here, right now," he said with a smile, "and nobody will ever know. Nobody will ever punish me. Now give us half your money."
Wow.
That's what this guy, this is what this guy went through on a regular basis.
Crazy.
Go ahead and you can read the rest of the page.
His message was essentially the same message that the Trump regime is trying to communicate to all of us today. We have all the power, you have none. We can get away with murder repeatedly, and there's nothing you can do about it. In other words, obey or die. It certainly worked for those 3. I split the little money I had with them, and they let me get on the plane. This, we have all the power and you have none, is the classic eternal message of fascism, wherever, whenever it appears in the world. Bovino aren't trying to convince anybody other than the pathetic brainwashed suckers who watch Fox News that both Alex Pretti and Nicole Good were domestic terrorists. They know that both were merely well-intentioned citizens protesting the occupation of their city by masked federal goons. Their real message, and Trump's, Miller's, and Vance's real message to Democrats in America is challenge us and we will kill you. And we will get away with it. That's how powerful we are. So you shouldn't even try to resist.
You know, my wife told me, they're going to vote on DHS funding. They've already given them $75 billion.
It's sickening.
And, my wife told me, this guy, John Fetterman,
Yeah.
who's got brain damage or some shit. I used to be cool. I voted for him.
He needs to go.
But the thing is, he said, they need to ICE needs to get out of Minneapolis. But he's gonna vote for the funding bill anyway. He's insane.
Yeah.
I called his office, and his voice mailbox is full.
Oh, everybody's pissed. Everyone's freaking pissed.
And so I sent him a letter. I said, "Oh, your mailbox is full. How convenient."
Yeah.
And then I said, my wife told me that you're, what I just said, like you want ICE out of Minneapolis, but you're going to vote for the funding anyway. Okay, that's great. Give them more money so they can come here to Pittsburgh with their guns and hire more jackbooted thugs to kill all the Yinzers.
Right.
I said, I met you 20 years ago in Carnegie when I was living there at a MoveOn.org rally. And he was the mayor of Braddock at that time.
Yep.
And, I said, you better not vote for this. Otherwise, blood is going to be on your hands.
Yeah, that's right.
The blood of your own constituents is going to be on your hands.
That's right.
You have to speak up to these guys, man. I don't know what's wrong with them. This guy was saying, Fetterman was on a video. This one guy was commenting on. He was saying, "Yeah, they're just doing their jobs. They're not doing their jobs.
They're killing people. They're rogue. They're rogue assassins. They're rogue paramilitary assailants. That's what they are."
Yeah, and they're intimidating people, and because they get rewarded for it. I mean, they get a $50,000 bonus from some high school kid. It's just, Joe Blow, from wherever. And they get to ride around and get to clean up the streets from all these N-words and wetbacks, and ship them out, and they're doing it. They're brainwashed to think that it's really a good service, and what they're trying, they're just hoping, they're praying that one of these agents gets shot, and that can justify everything.
Justify.
Yeah, and. They're just
It'll
hoping.
Be like, one of the agents gets shot, and it's going to be like a Charlie Kirk moment.
Well, it might be like a false flag thing. They could just, maybe they'll use something as an excuse, or maybe somebody will act up. But that's like, I think you said we should arm ourselves. No, one of my friends, Mike or Kirk. Massert, he's like a lawyer, an older devotee. I think he's about my age, but he is a gun owner, and he's saying "F you, Trump." This people. I train people how to use their gun properly. It's a right, and they can carry. That guy didn't have a gun on him. He didn't have a gun in his hand. He was filming. He was trying to protect that woman from. Of the jackbooted thugs, and he got pepper sprayed, and he might have, he was trying to stand up, and they shot him in the head, and then they shot him after he was down
like 10 times.
10 times, and they say, well, that was a justified killing.
Oh my God!
It's just like it's like, okay, now we're going to go out in the forest. 10 of us are going to go out in the forest to shoot this rabbit. We're going to have like a 10-gauge shotgun.
Right.
And shoot the rabbit at the same time. It's like trying to kill a mosquito with a cannon, And this is the way they intimidate people, and the right wing loves it. They eat it up because they're bloodthirsty maniacs, and they love the lies. Prabhupada said, if you lie, people will like you, especially when it titillates their senses. We're getting rid of all these libtards. We're getting rid of all the black people, the brown people, and they don't say it like that, but that's what they're feeling, and Trump just brings it out in them. And it's the same thing that happened with the KKK in the 20s. They armed them, they put masks on put hoods on their heads, and strapped them with guns, and they sent them out to kill a bunch of N-words. And history repeats itself,
Yeah. Yep.
Hakeem Jeffries, let's see. Where are we here? Where did you end up?
Obey or die. It certainly worked for those three.
Oh, okay. It certainly worked for those three. I split the. Oh, yeah. Let them get on the plane.
I said, don't even resist. And it appears indeed they will get away with it.
Yeah.
At the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And it appears indeed that they will get away with it.
They've already shut down the investigation of Renee Good's murder. I mean, this is just like...
It's insane.
You know what they did? Actually, they said that they tried to bribe. We'll take all these ICE officers out of Minneapolis.
Right. If
you give us the voting roll. That means it wasn't about immigration. It wasn't about any of that crap that they say it's about. It's about rigging the next election.
Yep. That's just it. Redact them. Give it to them redacted.
So, it appears indeed that they will get away with it. They've already shut down the investigation of Renee Good's murder, and now they've seized the evidence from Alex Pretti's murder and suffered no consequences whatsoever for this naked obstruction of justice. Hakeem Jeffries, I don't know about this guy, man.
Yeah.
Hakeem Jeffries is hiding someplace in Washington, D.C., perhaps under the same table as Chuck Schumer. Both should be in Minneapolis right now, holding ad hoc hearings and engaging the nation in nonstop media on the way Noam and Bavino are. You don't fight corrupt power by cowering. You have to show up. I mean, see, that's why Lord Chaitanya won, Lord Chaitanya, he obstructed their the Qazi got some complaints from the locals, in Bengal, that these Hare Krishnas, they got coming out here with their boom booms and their ding dings, and we can't even sleep at night. And so they complained to the Qazi, and he said, you got to stop this. And he actually sent some agents to break their mridanga drum, and the devotees were afraid, and they said what happened to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya said, okay, we're going to organize a protest. And he got hundreds of thousands of devotees with torches, and they all marched to the Qazi's house, palace. And the Qazi was like scared, because they were rowdy. They were ripping up his garden all around the palace. They were violent. And of course, the cow, as you should be. Prabhupada said in the purport, he was afraid, as you should be afraid. So it can go both ways. Either the lawmakers can be afraid, which most of them are, including Schumer, and if they vote to pass this bill tomorrow, we're finished. As a country, because they're going to have they already have like $75 billion more than any other military on the planet, just for ICE. And, they can't rig, they can't corrupt the FBI, so they're doing it with this other organization, which is headed by this, cross-eyed, so-called Hindu that was sworn in on the Bhagavad Gita, and all the devotees think it's so cool that he was sworn in on the Gita. And they post a picture of Modi and giving the Bhagavad Gita to Putin, and think that's such a great thing. These guys are demons.
Yeah. And
all it does is give them recognition. It's like Putin coming here to Alaska on our Air Force Base and rolling out the fucking red carpet. Even the soldiers were the ones that rolled out the carpet for them, for him. And he's a genocidal maniac. He's killing people.
Yeah.
He's killed hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians and his own people just for his own, dream of resurrecting the old USSR, And we're kowtowing to these people, and we're saying, "Oh, it's so nice that he gave him the book. Now he's going to become a devotee." I don't think so.
Yeah. No.
Okay, go ahead. Meanwhile,
the generally useless and certainly feckless Republicans in Congress are anxiously counting their campaign contributions, particularly ones to their leadership PACs that they can take with them when they leave office. Billionaires are buying fancy homes around D.C. so they continue to purchase Republican politicians, while right-wing media struggles to convince people that what they're seeing with their own eyes isn't true. And the message under it is all this: we're in charge here. You may not resist. We are in control, not you. Obey or die. Studies show that the conservative men, law enforcement officers particularly, are generally submissive men who need a strict father figure to tell them what to do and who crave regular reinforcement, often achieved by using violence for their fragile sense of masculinity. When a young woman tried to make her peaceful protests known, these cucks felt threatened, so they violently threw her down onto the ice and sprayed her in the face with liquid pepper and other chemicals. Their message: obey or die. When Alex Pretti tried to put himself between ICE and CPV, ICE thugs, the young woman they were beating up, he enraged them by claiming some power for himself. Thus, he also had to be punished. So first they knocked him to the ground and sprayed liquid pepper spray to blind and distort him. Their message: obey or die.
yeah, I mean, she actually put out a statement, and that woman, he was just trying to protect her. He wasn't disobeying, or he didn't have a gun on him. It was a concealed weapon. It wasn't, he didn't have it in his hands. He had both hands up in the air, and they shot him execution style, just like the Nazis used to. And then they killed him. Then they pumped 10 bullets into him just to make sure he was dead.
Yeah.
And I posted this thing that they filmed of this veteran. He's a veteran's nurse,
Yeah.
They filmed of this one veteran that died in the ICU. He was an ICU nurse, emergency nurse, and he read a memoriam to this soldier who was draped in a flag, and he said, we have to acknowledge the bravery of this person, and freedom isn't free. And that particular video has gotten, it went viral just even on my feed, and I don't know where the algorithms are taking people, but people are watching this thing. It got like 52 that was this morning, about 52 reactions. And thousands of views. Just that one video of him giving that veteran props, when he died of cancer. But, these are the people that they're trying to smear, and we shouldn't let them get away with it. In the same way they're trying to remove, they're kind of like, Tom Hartman calls them lick spittles for white supremacy.
Yeah.
They're removing all of the memorials in Norway or some country in Germany or in Europe, all of the black memorials of the heroes that fought in World War II.
What? In Germany?
Not in Germany, in Norway or one of the European countries.
Wow.
They're taking them down.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, and they don't want any black people,
Wow.
the mud people, as they like to call them. They're heroes.
Yeah.
They fought in World War II, their greatest generation. They're trying to cover it all up and make it all about the white man, the white Christians.
Well, white supremacy isn't just, it's a problem spreading in Europe too. It's not just.
Oh, sure. Well, this whole experiment of democracy is in trouble. In 2015, my mentor, actually, he took me under his wing when I transcribed a bunch of his lectures. I would drive him around. He made me his personal servant, and I would drive him in his Ford Taurus station wagon that he bought in 1980 something from Wilson Wind Ford here in Carnegie, and I would drive him all over the country, and he would be blasting gospel music. He was a black Yale educated sannyasi,
Wow.
And he would go around Europe when the Iron Curtain was still up, and he happened to pop in a tape of my spiritual master reading his book Eternal Love. And he was very impressed by that. He said, "Oh my God, this guy's powerful. If he, something's probably going to happen to him, because if you have some kind of potency, there's a lot of pushback. Look at Christ. Look at Prahlad Maharaj. Look at Haridas Thakur. If you have some potency, people will start attacking you." And so that's what happened. And he came to New Vrindavan based on that tape, that audiobook that he read into a cassette. And Kirtananda, my spiritual master, he made him the temple president right away. And then he was made in charge of all the Sankirtan devotees. But he wrote this book called Hiding an Unnatural Happiness. You're familiar with that book?
Hiding and Unnatural Happiness?
Hiding in Unnatural Happiness. I have a copy of it here.
Sounds cool.
I will give you a copy when I see you next.
Oh, wow. What's that about?
It's about, how people engage in sense gratification, and it's really not even natural, It's pleasing the senses, but it's not pleasing the soul. It's like polishing the bird cage or trying to engage in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending without taking care of the needs of the soul. You polish the bird cage, but you don't feed the bird. The bird dies. So it's unnatural happiness. You try to satisfy your senses by whatever means you can. And he was talking about, in one chapter, he was talking about how, when the Iron Curtain fell back in 2010, it was a brief period of time where Russia was actually a democracy.
Yeah.
That guy Gorbachev.
Yeah.
They about 10 years, and then Putin got into power, and he consolidated all the media, he consolidated all the power, and got his police force to beat down all the demonstrators, and that's the way he's been in power for 30 years now in Russia. And they have elections. This is the way it works nowadays. They don't have like a big, takeover or a coup or whatever. It's like an electoral coup. They have elections, but they don't count anymore because it's all rigged.
Right.
And that's the way this country's going to be, unless
that's what we're about to do, or what we already did.
Yeah, I mean, they stripped about 4.3 million people off the voter rolls. Actually, Kamala Harris won that election.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they got all these techniques now, and they've got all these data companies, Palantir and all these AI things to pump their propaganda in, and they're just like polluting the atmosphere with their lies, and people don't know. Your grandma's feed is just completely contaminated, and with people, they can create entire newsrooms of people that look real, sound familiar, and it sounds like they're telling the truth, but it's all lies.
Yeah.
It's like Orwell on a feed, with Himmler with a circuit board,
Yeah.
It goes like a million miles an hour, and it's
just thinking that when I was like shoveling my snow, I was like, wow, they came onto the perfect time to do mass propaganda, because you have all these platforms that you can just crank it out like it's like just en masse.
Yeah, your grandma's feed's getting disrupted, and she believes every word they're already programmed to believe everything that they say, even though, just like in George Orwell, they say that the party told you not to trust the evidence of your eyes and ears.
Right.
But to trust the party. That was their most essential command. So they're telling everybody that this was a justified killing, that you can't believe the witnesses, the hundreds of videos from different angles that people take. You can't believe any of that. Just trust the party, and people love it, and they ask for more, and that's why they're doing it more. unless it's called out, unless these people are arrested, unless Trump is impeached, unless all these people that are in charge of these different organizations, like Homeland Security, DHS, ICE, they should all be disbanded and broken up into other agencies, and all the people that committed these murders should be tried and prosecuted. Unless that happens, there's nothing that's going to stop them, because they'll just get away with it. Like a Nixon's cronies, they pardoned Nixon, and then they pardoned all his cronies too, and they got into power again. You don't know that because you're too young. But there's guys that were in Nixon's cabinet, but they got away with it, and then they ended up in the government again, just like Steve Bannon.
Yeah, he's a creep.
The guy that crawled out from under a rock or something. Another cuck. What does that mean anyway? Hartman said, I'm gonna have to look it up in the Urban Dictionary or something. But let's see. He had to obey, so he had to die. Yeah, you can read the next one here. These craven weaklings.
These craven weaklings, desperate to prove their manhood and reassert their power, murdered Alex Pretti for having dared to challenge them, and then applauded themselves as one said of Pretti's death. Boo-hoo, just like Putin does when the average people challenge him in Russia, Orban does in Hungary, and the Ayatollah does in Iran, Erdogan does in Turkey, and El-Sisi does in Egypt, among others. This is how fascist men roll and have throughout history. It's entirely predictable playbook, as Ruth Ben-Ghiat, Mary Trump, Jason Stanley, Timothy Snyder, and Miles Taylor can tell you, obey or die. It's particularly ironic that right now that as the USS Abraham Lincoln and a small armada accompanying warships are scheduled to arrive off the coast of Iran by the end of this week, that Iranian state TV is running clips of ICE gassing and killing Minnesotans on a loop. Wow. They're openly saying that Trump is doing the same as they did a few weeks ago, therefore justifying executing their own domestic terrorists. Wow. And now
that's how they roll. Trump is doing everything that Putin and all these other autocrats do, right. and so it kind of justifies. You're doing the same thing. I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever bounces off me and sticks to you.
Right.
So this is the way. It disintegrates any kind of morality, and it consolidates all the power to the top. There's no checks and balances, and therefore there's no laws, and the only way that can we can deal with it is if the citizens rise up and become the police department. And now, in a pathetic joke, Trump's saying he's going to punish Iran's mullahs for killing their own people.
Right.
It's amazing, he's such a hypocrite.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know, He was on the program with Leslie Stahl, and she kind of called him out. She said, you're not known to be a humble man. And he said, I think I am humble. I think I'm more humble than you could possibly comprehend. He was bragging about how humble he was. So he has no self-awareness. He doesn't even know what humility means, and he pretends to be some kind of powerful leader and punishes people for doing what they know is wrong, but he himself is doing it, As a pathetic joke, he's going to punish Iran's mullahs for killing their own people on the streets of Tehran, at the same time brags about and justifies gunning down Americans on the streets of Minneapolis, and soon Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Thanks to John Fetterman's vote. He's going to vote for this fucking bill. I know.
Yeah, he is. Of course he is.
Because he said he would.
Well, he takes, and then the other thing that Hartman's not mentioning, though, is that they're using IDF Israeli tactics against Americans. So there's
what is their tactics?
Well, this is the way ISIS attacking Americans. This is how the IDF is taught to oppress Palestinians. And then
what is that exactly?
There was that billionaire Israeli who, what was his name? I can't freaking remember now. But he got on and made some kind of comment in support of oppressing the protesters in fucking Minnesota. So if that doesn't show you that we're not owned, that was the whole argument, was that we're owned. We're already occupied by Israel. We're like their little bitch.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Trump and Bibi. I've always known that Bibi Netanyahu was a warmonger.
Yep.
And you know, he's corrupt as hell. But the thing is, you know, we're owned by all these other autocrats. Like Trump loves Putin, and he's got some compromat on him. You know what compromat is?
Yeah.
Compromat is a Russian term meaning, you know, he's got something on him, PP tapes or whatever they got, you know.
Yep. Yep.
And so
never gonna see the
he's
PP
doing
tape.
whatever he
You're
wants.
never gonna see any of it.
No, you won't see it. And also, Orban was hosted by the CPAC, you know, the big conservative conference, and they gave him standing ovation after standing ovation because they are following his playbook to the T. And they're bragging about out loud about it, how they're doing it. They already said out loud in Project 2025, a 900-page document, exactly what they're going to do, and they're doing it. And so, you know,
they're doing it.
And nobody cares. Especially, it seems like devotees, even big gurus are saying, you know, it's just Krishna's will, you know. Just chant Hare Krishna, don't worry about it. Krishna will take care of it, you know.
No, it won't.
But this is the thing. Krishna wants us to depend on, he doesn't need anybody. Krishna doesn't need our offerings. He doesn't need our food. He's controlling the whole universe. He doesn't need anything. He just wants our love. But it's to our benefit that we surrender to him. You know, we surrender to him. He doesn't need our surrender, but it's to our benefit that we surrender to him because he's perfect. And it will make your life perfect if we surrender to him. And therefore, that's why, I mean, why would he do that? It's not for himself. Otherwise, why would he come down here to this material world and say, Sarva Dharma Prityaja, Mamikam Sharanam, abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender to me? Why would he do that unless he wanted us to surrender to him? It's not for some personal benefit or some praise, you know. And, you know, he's self-sufficient. He's totally satisfied in and of himself. Therefore, he has completely renounced. Even though he owns the entire world, he's not attached to it. He has the most beautiful girls on the planet in the form of the gopis, but he left them. I mean, that's the opulence of renunciation. That's another one of the godly qualities. He's got all 6 qualities of Bhagavan. Bhagavan means the God. You know, all strength, all wealth, all wisdom, all knowledge, and all renunciation. If you have all those things, everybody likes somebody who's beautiful, who's famous, who's powerful, who's knowledgeable, who's very renounced. People love that kind of person. But if you find somebody that has that to an unlimited degree, that would be Krishna. And so Krishna wants us to surrender to him so we can purify our own self, because we're just a part and parcel of him. And so when we hear his message through the pure devotee who presents it perfectly in a pleasing way to Krishna, so Krishna will be pleased. And just like Radharani, you know, if she likes you, then Krishna will accept you. If Radharani says, Krishna, this is a nice devotee, I want you to accept him, Krishna has to accept, you know, because Krishna is completely controlled by his devotees, and the devotees are completely controlling Krishna. And that's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. It's a reciprocal relationship, and it's ever increasing. You know, you never find anything in the material world that's ever increasing in pleasure. You know, if you like ice cream, you can eat maybe half gallon of ice cream. They don't even have half gallons anymore. Breyers used to have half gallons. Yeah. But they don't even have half gallons anymore. It's like like 1/3 of a gallon now. But if you like to eat that, pretty soon you'll get a brain freeze, and you'll start, you know, getting sick because you can't eat that much, you know. Yeah. So, but the unlimited in my name, Shikshasaka, there's a verse that goes, Anandam Buddhivardhanam Patipadam Parnamitaswaram. It's an ever-increasing, unlimited ocean of happiness. It's like, where do you find that in the material world? There is no. Everything in the material world is only temporary. So a wise person doesn't delight in those things. That's why he's talking about unnatural happiness. It's just temporary happiness, and it doesn't last. Why would you focus your attention on just, like when I go to Wisconsin, my brother would hear these college students in the Safeway there, and there'd be a big, it'd be like May 5th or something. They'd have to have some party, So what should we get, man? Should we get shots or margaritas? Mm-hmm. Shots or margaritas? That's the big that's a big question that like college students are asking themselves nowadays. It's not for higher education; it's just to get drunk, and everything is an excuse to drink, and that's unnatural happiness because it's just really not. It's not lasting, and it's just killing people. And like that song by Bob Dylan, he said, you went to the finer schools, all right, Miss Lonely, but you only used to get juiced in it. In other words, you go to the fine schools, but then you just get drunk, But that's, I saw this banner once. I was in a college dorm, and it had a big banner, like on the wall. And it was painted. It said, "Mom, send more money for beer."
Yeah, there you go.
That's the goal of life,
Yeah.
And all these country songs. You ever heard of bro country? That's actually a genre of country. All they talk about is like trucks and broads and TNA and drinking. And they have all kinds of beer songs, and it's called bro country. You can look it up in Wikipedia.
Bro country.
But that's all they like. It that's unnatural happiness, and it doesn't. It actually causes more problems. Prahlad Maharaj said that when you shouldn't try to be happy like that. If you want to be happy, then just stop trying to be happy like that. He was only 5 years old, but he was a wise soul.
Wow.
I mean, because it's Maya Sukhaya. He said, Maya Sukhaya Baram Udva Tovi Mudan. These fools and rascals, they're trying to maintain their society, their families, and their nation. They're making huge plans for material happiness, and it just creates more problems and more unhappiness. So that's unnatural happiness. That's the purport of that book. Well, I'll give you a copy.
Wow. That is cool.
So, let's see here. Everybody wants money.
Yeah.
Our billboard's putting ICE agents on, send us money for this, for that, the other thing. I bought this no ICE hat. They said it's a free hat. All you have to do is pay $1.99, and then I got charged $1.99 and $29.99 for the hat.
Oh, wow.
So it's like false advertising,
Yeah.
I didn't order that, but if they don't give me my money back, I'm going to refute it with the bank.
Yeah.
That's a pain in the neck,
Yeah,
But,
it is.
they always want. They're always trying to, they got your algorithm. They know what you're interested in,
Right.
and so they try to sell you crap, or try to raise money on you. See, Trump's message on January 6th was the same: obey or die. Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi barely escaped being killed.
Yeah.
You remember that? Did you see those guys say, Nancy,
Yeah,
Nancy,
crazy.
where are you, Nancy? And then the guy breaks into her house, finds Paul Pelosi, an 80-something-year-old guy, hits him in the head with a hammer, and
awful.
then
Jesus
fractures his skull. And then Trump says, maybe they need a bigger wall, and everybody starts laughing.
It's insane.
They love their cruel jokes, and they love it when Trump entertains them in that way and makes fun and looks down on people that they hate.
Oh, wait, whatever happened to the guy who killed Melissa Hart? Who was the senators who got killed?
Yeah, in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are targeted killings.
Yeah, I know.
It was a guy who was dressed up as a See, what
talk.
they do is they dress up as a pizza salesman or something like that, or a security guy or whatever, or a police officer, and then when they open the door, then they shoot him. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he's still on trial or what.
Yeah, they did
Pam
arrest
Bondi
him.
probably let him off. Because
That's what I'm saying. Like, what the? Okay, so if they can, this is what I'm saying. This is everyone's getting gunned down. This is like when you add it all up and start looking at the whole picture, and connecting everything. It's insane. It's
yeah, and they're using that. They're using that to increase the violence because they
right.
want more of it.
They want
They
more
actually
of it,
have.
way-
They want.
way
They
more of
they
it.
use all these this violence to crack down even further, so they can actually end up stealing the election. Everybody will be cowed into silence and don't say anything. Even my next door neighbor, he said, "I'm not afraid." Yeah, he is. He says, "I don't even watch the news anymore, but I'm not afraid." I'm just trying to take care of my own family. I don't get involved in politics like you. But and even devotees are like that.
Yeah.
Maria Rosenthal, she said, this politics is just BS. You should just chant Hare Krishna. Everything is politics. Everything. Lord Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield, it was all politics.
That's true. Yeah,
I mean, how can you get away from it?
you can't. You're right.
Krishna is everything, and Prabhupada was very broad-minded. He wanted to see things from various viewpoints, and his spiritual master was so expert. He could talk about anything and on any subject and be, reflective of the Krishna at every moment, and even these bogus gurus and this caste brahmanas that he was against, they were very much afraid of even his neophyte disciples. They didn't kind of avoided them, even though they were only young men. They were so powerful because they were empowered by Bhaktisiddhanta that could actually speak about any subject. And so everything is there: politics,
That's right. Wow.
architecture, music, theater, art, whatever it is. Krishna is there, and
yeah.
he's all pervading.
I mean,
And
the entertainment, movies, TV, the things you watch, it's all the same thing.
yeah, I mean, you can dovetail all these things, and if you're good at something, then you should use it in Krishna's service. Take it and dovetail it, and Krishna will be pleased. If Krishna says, "Yat karoshi yat ashnasi yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasya konteya madhya krushvad madarshanam." All that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer, give away, as well as all austerities you perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Because that's where everything belongs. If we sacrifice for Krishna, we're in our constitutional position. We're just like a cog in the wheel. We're a gear in the machine. This whole material cosmos is running on his authority. If we deviate from that, then we're outside of the realm. But if we're in harmony with that, then we're happy. So that's the bottom line. How long is this thing? We're almost to the end. Let's finish this.
Okay.
Go ahead and read the next thing here. Okay. Yeah. We're nuts if
We're nuts if we think Trump and the people around him wouldn't try it again, particularly when they're all looking at the possibility of prison time if an impeachment effort is successful, because so many Republicans could lose their seats this fall. Trump himself has already been convicted of fraud multiple times, as well as stealing money from a children's cancer charity and raping E. Jean Carroll, and his lickspittles have known that John Mitchell, Nixon's attorney general, and 40 other senior officials, including a cabinet member, went to prison in the 1970s. Trump is a weak, psychologically damaged man, as were Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini, and most of the world's other historic strongmen. Their weakness and emotional damage are what drive them to their obey or die proclamations. Such people not only draw others with a similar malady into their circles, but they also typically inflict generationally destructive damage on their own countries when people push back against them. These weak men, knowing well their own fear, sense weakness the way a mouse senses cheese. They smell fear, and right now, as Republican and Democrat, and most Democrats have gone into hiding, Washington reeks of it. History
Smells
is
like cheese.
Yep. History is unambiguous about what happens when bullies are confronted early and publicly. Their violence escalates, their lies morph into history and law, and intimidation against anybody who dares to speak up becomes the new normal. Soon everybody is silent.
Go ahead and keep it running.
Yeah. Good and Pretti weren't accidents, and they weren't about immigration. These intentional killings, these murders, were unambiguous messages as clear as the one I got in Uganda that fall afternoon. Get in our way, and we will kill you, and nobody will do anything about it. Obey or die. And unless Democratic leadership takes a cue from the good people of Minnesota and steps up and fights hard, the next message will be even broader and bloodier, because authoritarians always interpret silence as permission.
Right.
Well,
Silence is the. This is what Martin Luther King talked about. He had several quotes about silence. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull one up. MLK on silence. I've got a bunch of pictures. Like this one here. Hold on. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps perpetuate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it.
Mm-hmm. You're complicit. Yeah.
And this one here, this is what our program the other night with Sankirtan was about a couple nights ago. We will have to repent in this generation, not merely for the hateful words and actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence of the good people. And my lawyer friend said, they're really not that good. If you're silent, you're not good. You know, you might be a devotee, but your silence is actual complicity, and your silence or your going along with it is you're culpable for that. Human progress never runs on wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts of men willing to be co-workers with God. And without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally to the forces of social stagnation. We must use time creatively in the knowledge that the time is always ripe to do good. And then he says, in the end, we'll remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
Yep, that's right.
Martin Luther King.
So many people I know are so quiet right now, and I can't. It disgusts me, really.
Yeah, and even devotees sometimes make fun. Even Satrup Maharaj, the guy that wrote the... I called him out on this a long time ago, like maybe 30, 40 years ago.
Wow.
He said, oh, my dear, he was supposed to... Martin Luther King Jr., he was supposed to be the liberator of his people. Mm-hmm. So how many people did you liberate, dear liberator? And I was offended by that, because he was a pastor, and he actually apologized. He actually wrote me back and apologized for saying that. Because, devotees think we got the highest possible thing. I remember one time in the Chicago temple, this one devotee was talking about Mother Teresa, how she's just mundane philanthropist. Mm-hmm. And this one Christian lady, she just got up and walked right out of that temple.
Yeah.
I mean, as she should, because it's actually blasphemy.
Yeah,
these people are like Martin Luther King Jr. and Mother Teresa. They're practically saints.
Right.
And a lot of devotees I know, one of my best friends, he said, yeah, Martin Luther King, he engaged in all kinds of like illicit activities, and and their FBI was like trying to, target him, just like the FBI is targeting all these good people nowadays. It's the same thing, different, same shit, different day. Different, the Hoover administration back in MLK's day, and now it's Kash Patel. Just going after all the enemies,
Century.
Different century. Yeah, the 21st and 20th century, But same shit, different century, yeah. Anyway, we should probably end here. It's
All
7
right.
o'clock. Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining me.
thanks, Chick.
Appreciate it.
It's really good. I get a lot out of these, and
Yeah, we got to keep talking about it. Find out. We have to understand. Like sometimes I get distracted by some humor, Like I'll see I'll see like a Beavis and Butthead thing, and I'll just be really amused. Like say, oh, this sucks, man. This weather sucks, and he said we should go somewhere else. He said, yeah, but it's just the same everywhere. He said, yeah, that's true. You can only take about 20 seconds of Beavis and Butthead, But you need a little bit of humor
comedy.
every once in a while, but
Yeah.
you can't get absorbed in it and like make it,
know.
because this is serious stuff that's happening right now.
Yeah, it is.
Prabhupada said, you should understand. So so many people are being cheated and are bluffing, and in the name of so-called nationalism, in the name of science, people are being cheated and bluffing, and this should be stopped. How much can we understand that? How urgent this is? It's urgent, and so. And then one devotee said, well, Prabhupada, we'll defeat them by your mercy. He said, my mercy's already there. You have to fight. You're the one that has to
Prabhupada
fight.
said that?
Yeah. I'll send you the video of it. He's like walking along the shore of the Pacific Ocean near L.A., and he was saying, how important is this movement of yours, And he said, well, this will be accomplished by your mercy. My mercy's already there. It didn't say like to Arjuna, you just sit here on the side of the battlefield and I'll take care of everything for you. You just chant Hare Krishna, or you just, you don't have to do anything. I'll do it for you.
Where's the story of Arjuna? Like, he was called to fight, right? He was called to fight.
Well, he has this duty as a Kshatriya. If you don't fight for your given kingdom, you're out of a job. You're if he didn't fight for whatever, just like his grandpa, his grandfather Bhishma, for financial reasons he took the side of Duryodhana because he gave him a lot of money, probably, even though he shouldn't have. But that he was a saintly person. I mean, Bhishma Dev was taught by Yudhishthira all the principles of kingly behavior in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam. I mean, he instructed him. Bhishma Dev was one of the Mahajans. He was one of the people that knew everything about Krishna consciousness. But, Krishna sometimes, he may, nobody's perfect. And he might have accepted that, even though he shouldn't have. You don't treat them with disrespect, But the thing is, everybody, even Prabhupada himself, he said, I'm honeycombed with faults. I'm honeycombed with faults. But we have to, his character, though, is so spotless. It's like the moon, The moon can show the way to the entire world. What can we do? We're little tiny glittering stars. But if you have one moon that can show the way for humanity and everybody follows him, that's why it's like, you have to follow a pure devotee and then get everybody else to surrender, Krishna says it's just one message, just surrender to me. Like Prabhupada said, here's the preaching method. You say, first you flatter somebody. You say, my dear sir, you're so smart. You know everything. You're such a great person. I just have one request. Just forget all the nonsense that you've learned and just surrender to Lord Chaitanya. At first he said, just forget everything you've ever learned. And actually, Bhaktisiddhanta said that. He told the guy that was in a prison camp in India. He said, the first thing when I came here, my spiritual master told me, take everything you've known, take everything you've learned, take everything that you've read, take everything you've experienced, put it in a big bag and drop it into the ocean where it's deepest and start afresh. Because otherwise, if you're holding on to these ideas of what you think is true, just surrender to Krishna, abandon all varieties of religion. And so, that's why he says, well, if I forget everything that I've learned, then what will I do? You just depend on the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. This is Lord Chaitanya's method of preaching. First you flatter them, and then they get all puffed up and think they're so great. And then you tell them to surrender to Lord Chaitanya. And if you apply your logic and reason to Lord Chaitanya's mercy, you'll find it's wonderful. because that is the key. The bottom line of the Bhagavad Gita. That's the first, Hare Krishna 101, surrender. But people didn't understand it, so Lord Chaitanya had to exemplify that by coming as a devotee himself and showing people. Just like, a teacher will take a crayon and write ABC for the student, He'll show them personally. Krishna said, surrender to me. Nobody understood it, so Lord Chaitanya showed people how to surrender, It's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for showing up. And anytime you want to jump in, I do these 6 days a week.
Yeah,
so.
I try to get on when I mean, obviously some nights I work, but when I can and there's nothing else going on, I definitely get a lot from it. Do enjoy them. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Right.
one. And don't overexert yourself with shoveling the snow. I was afraid I was
Oh
going to have a heart
man.
attack or something,
Oh,
because
I was hard, man. I had to dig out the car
yeah, you
and
have to
plow it
kind of
in.
take of it in increments,
It was rough. I did a
because
lot today.
it's hard work.
It is.
Yeah, I got my watch tells me what my activity goals are. I have a stand goal, and it just praises me. My watch says, "That nice job, Chick. Achieved your stand goal." And it says you're such a great guy. Congratulations. And then my move goal was actually accomplished today because I shoveled out my wife's car and I was moving all over the place.
There you go.
So I guess we need to. I need to exercise though, because most of the time.
I realize that it is, as much as you dread doing it, it is actually really good exercise. So I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, yeah. There's a silver lining. Sometimes silver lining isn't enough, but that there is good and bad. But Krishna consciousness, you have to rise there's happiness and distress, and but all these different things, they come and go like the winter and summer seasons, and you should tolerate them without being disturbed. That's what it means to be transcendental. Anyway, we'll talk to you next time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.